This is Mile High.
Do I want to tell the story or do I want to show the message?
You've got a lot of work to do between Mile High.
The time has come where we can know
we have a responsibility, an ethical and moral responsibility.
We have to do it better in order to move people along.
Up, down, inside out.
If you get your mind right,
it is not. It is a receiver of thought. Because love is my first technique.
it's now time for the show.
Welcome to the Mile High Podcast. This is your host, Dr. Daniel Knowles, coming to you at an altitude of 5,280 feet. And guess what? So is our guest this time, Dr. Simon Dove. Many of you know him, many of you don't. He is one of our Mile High MCs, phenomenal chiropractor. We were back in school together during the same time. Myself at Sherman, him at Life. He practices up in Fort Collins and has impacted so many lives over the years. We are so grateful to have him as one of our Mile High MCs. And we thought, hey, let's have Simon get highlighted and people get to know him better and his take on all things Mile High. Thank you for joining us on the podcast, Dr. Simon Dove.
Danny Knowles, it's my pleasure, buddy. And that I could easily say that every year I've known you. It's been a pleasure to support all the big missions that you're up to in life. And they are big. And so I love being a part of Mile High. I love being a helper, a part of the whole thing. It's one of my favorite parts of the year. So
and stand
great
up,
to be here.
The person who designed the shirt. Yep,
Look out, everyone. This is last year.
Yep. And of course, people know Mile High comes early this year. Sometimes it feels like Christmas comes early. This year, Mile High actually does come early. It's going to be right. June 3rd to 5th. And we have a whole new focus that I am super stoked about. But right now, let's get started with talking to Simon and helping him share with you his Mile High insights. First of all, Simon, let's help people get to know you a little bit better. How did you find your way into this chiropractic world?
Can I use props? I think I have some. No, we don't have time for that. How did I get, say the question again, how did I get involved in the chiropractic world?
How did you find your way into this world we call chiropractic?
Okay, gotcha. It found me for sure. I was headed to Italy. My uncle was a chiropractor there. You all know that saying, if you want to make God laugh, show her your plans. But that's the end of this story. I'll be brief. So I had always loved art and music. They called to me, I resonated, and it was a blast. So that was my path. I went to undergraduate and got a degree in studio art. And I was headed to Italy. My uncle, David Ferraro, who's a great network spinal analysis practitioner there, had just started getting into the work. I went there to continue doing my artwork. That was the plan. So I show up, he starts adjusting me. Now I had had some really good classic chiropractic before that. And it helped me out a lot. And I just sort of drifted away from it. It was kind of I just fell through the cracks at that office. You know, it was more symptom based, still wonderful people. And I loved it, but it wasn't earth changing or anything. So I hadn't been adjusted in about a year, maybe two. And he says, hey, welcome to Italy. And I was in heaven. For me, that was my Mecca. I mean, art and music. So he said, hey, you want me to adjust you? And I said, well, sure. It's been about 2 years. And I'd just been on 2 airplanes. I'd packed up my life, a train, a subway, a bus, all of it. And I said, sure. He adjusts me with this very different approach. And it knocked my socks off. And I started to feel purpose, love. I felt like a little kid. You know, when a little kid says, I want to be a fireman. And then the next day, no, I want to be a vet. No, and it's this exciting, fun time now. I started getting into that and feeling that. And what was surprising is it made me think maybe I was depressed. But if someone had asked me, are you depressed? I'd have said, no, are you kidding me? I just showed up in Italy. Life is fantastic. And yet chiropractic helped me connect. So it found me. Fast forward 7 months later, I couldn't stop asking him questions, cleaning his office. I got back on a plane and came back to the States and went to Life Chiropractic College.
Cool. Very cool. And I'll tell you, I know very well your your cousin, right?
Uncle, yeah, David.
Uncle.
Oh yeah,
Because I visited him in Italy as well, right?
That's right.
So phenomenal. And he is a phenomenal practitioner. And I remember that time of seeing you back at Life University. So and learning chiropractic together. Now here's the thing, fast forward, you practiced for a little bit in New York City, right?
Yep.
And then found your way out west to the wild west of Colorado.
It's all true.
Talk a little bit about practicing in NYC and practicing in Colorado.
New York City was a blast. Part of my personal story was I started there as a baby and then had left. So coming back as a leader in the community, hot out of school, fired up. It was really cool to come back to New York. And because I hadn't been there since I was 5, set up in New York City, right across from the World Trade Center, and then set up an office in Soho, and just loved it. It was a great part of my personal journey and professional journey. Loved it. Got to meet some really cool people that you know about. And then later I met my wife, fell in love with her, and she was headed to the wild, wild west, as you call it. She was going to Nairobi University. So I said, well, if you're going, I'm going. At that time, I was in New Hampshire.
Well, let's add something to this.
Right.
One thing that I share with Simon Dove is having checked the Beastie Boys. So we can say anything about taking care of the Beastie Boys back in New York. And
yeah,
in Colorado.
it was fantastic. I fell in love with yoga right when I arrived in New York City as a chiropractor. And it was all part of that part of my life was, I was really curious about holistic approaches to things and how to connect to yourself and be more healthy. And so this yoga thing, I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. And tried different yoga techniques and communities and landed on this one Ashtanga technique, and was going to that studio, and there were just it was a really quality and low key. It was kind of like that cool secret society. There was no sign on the door, and there was no boutique. When you got there, you just went to it, and it was like one day Willem Dafoe's next to me, the next day Gwyneth Paltrow's next to me, and then the next day Mike D from the Beastie Boys is next to me. Fast forward through that, he started care with me, and it was really great to support such a fun and awesome musician. I don't know if we have time. I do have a favorite part of this story in Colorado.
Go for it.
So that's the New York part. I follow my wife to Colorado. Danny calls me up. I'll never forget this. I'm walking down the street on Pearl Street. He calls me up and he goes, "Hey, Simon, I have an extra ticket to go see the Beastie Boys. Would you like to come?" And for those of you who don't know Danny, he is a very loving and generous guy. Like, I have gotten a lot of those phone calls where he just has something extra and he wants to share. Tickets to really fun stuff. So that's why you should all come to Mile High, because maybe Danny will give you a sport ticket to go see stuff. So he calls me up. He says, "I got an extra ticket to see the Beastie Boys in Red Rocks." And I said, "Oh, cool. I'll call up Mike D and see if he wants us to check him. I haven't checked him in a long time." And I'll never forget. There was this silence, and I think his Bronx nature came out, and he was like, "Yeah, right." And then I realized, oh, he thinks I'm kidding. He doesn't know that I've taken care of Mike D. So I say, "No, really." And then he's like halfway believing it, but this is too big to like get excited about. He's like, "Okay, you go ahead and just make that call, and you let me know." And I was like, "I'm telling you." He's like, all right. And sure enough, I get in touch with Mike D, and he says, "Yeah, that'd be great." And we talk to the managers, and we go, and yeah. And then I knocked his socks off with that experience. Yeah. Michelle then later tells me, she goes, "Simon, you have no idea what just happened. If Danny had the choice to adjust the president of the United States or the Beastie Boys, it would be the Beastie Boys.
Well, right now that would totally be true.
Right. That's true.
But at the same time, also, there's another thing that you left out, which is that the humbleness, because you said that when Mike visited you in the office, Mike D,
yeah,
he just simply, you weren't sure who it was.
No.
And he just put on his history.
Musician.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, musician. And all of a sudden I look up at him, because before, when I was saying at the yoga studio, Mike D was next to me, I didn't recognize him. A friend who was seeing me recommended that he come see me, and he comes in. I still don't know who he is. Mike Diamond. You know how many Michael Diamonds are in New York City?
I know a chiropractor named Michael Diamond.
Yeah, exactly. We do. 6 pages of Michael Diamonds in the phone book. So I'm talking, we're doing his history, we're about to get started, and then I go, oh, musician. And all of a sudden I'm looking at him and I go, oh my goodness. That's Mike D. Oh, and then I had a second, I had to acknowledge it, but then I had to get off of that. It's not about being a fan.
Right. Because you're in service at that point. And we've all been in that. Well, many of us have been in that place. So then you're like seeing someone in that service position, you have to change hats from fan to servant, and healthcare provider. So now, being of service, talking about Mile High, let's talk about your experience. For what excites you about Mile High from the get-go and being at the first Mile High as an attendee?
The concept I thought was extremely important and valuable. We needed to have a place where like-minded vitalistic chiropractors could gather. And that's just the best word, gather. Of course, we're going to gather and learn things, but we're also going to share things. We're also going to bond. We're also going to support each other. And that was really, really important to me. And you know, when you come out of school, for all you young doctors that are watching this, it absolutely makes sense that you might say, oh, I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to another seminar. I don't want to coach. I want like everyone needs to just back off, and I need to get after this and kind of find myself. And if you do that too long, that's good. But if you do that too long, you find yourself kind of a little bit out in the weeds, which I think is a problem in our profession. It's out in a lot of professions too. So not to be this lone wolf and feel that you have to do it all on yourself and put all of it on your shoulders. So that was the second part, because and you're a good friend, and I said, yeah, let's get this going. And then I was like, wow, I got a lot out of this. Why is this different? This is not Cal Jam. I love it. This is not the Berkshires. Love that. This is different. And so it kind of chose me, just like I said, chiropractic chose me. This seminar has kind of chosen me, and it's just such a great part of my year.
Yeah, and I've got to say, a lot of people have come back to me and said the same thing, that it has its own flavor, its own unique tone, its own unique tone and experience that's different, and the community is so vibrant. It has its own tone as well. So and we're really grateful. I know you are. I know Joel Kinch, Jake, myself. Rochelle, we're all very grateful that people's trust that they put in us to put this together, and to participate and engage. What do you enjoy most about being an MC?
Oh, I get to actually chat a little firsthand with all the amazing people. Jake and I and Joel like to prepare before the event, and we'll connect to the different speakers, as you well know. So that's really nice. That's like a huge perk, actually, just to feel their love, their commitment, their enthusiasm. Doesn't matter what technique, what camp they're from, what lights their boat in chiropractic. We all share this chiropractic piece. So it's wonderful to meet them, and then at the event, be able to meet them a little bit more. And that's for sure my favorite perk. Yeah,
I really appreciate that too. Now, we've had a lot of years of Mile High, 8 years.
8.
So what's a fave? I don't know if you could pick the fave, but a fave or a couple of fave Mile High moments.
At the first one, it's a double favorite moment. I'm in the second row, right behind Judd and O'Grady and his son. And I had never met them. And I was like, wow, had great conversations. Right next to me is Tim Young, superstar. And I forget who was Zano. No, he wasn't sitting down there yet. He was about to speak. Or no, he came in later. Anyway, some other wonderful chiropractor. In fact, there were two others. Anyway, and Donnie gets on, and Donnie starts talking. And I love hearing Donnie talk. I think he's a true visionary in chiropractic and in life. And I got distracted because I kept hearing all these other chiropractors next to me that some were speakers going, oh my gosh, that's exactly right. And it distracted me a little bit in a great way, but it was more of like, wow, that was, and they kept happening and kept happening. And at the end, they were applauding so loud, but what was cool was their comment was, that's the first time that I really got the vision and understand what Donnie was talking about. So it tickled me because I've been in that spot of trying to figure out or catch up a little bit to the expansiveness. But I love these guys are authorities in chiropractic. And they're the type of people that show up to Mile High to learn and give and learn.
Mm-hmm.
And they got all amped up. And it was just this wonderful, like, since we're a mix of so many different backgrounds, that little moment was this really kind of small but deep moment of just how connected we are and just how much we can support and influence each other.
Love that. Love that. And what was your second one?
What was my
There was two, there was a tie.
Oh, Judd and O'Grady's talk.
Oh, at the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. It was the tie-in. It wasn't that was great. It was someone couldn't make it, and you leaned over to ask Tim Young if he could speak next. He wasn't on the bill.
Yep. That's
this guy, without a hesitation of body language, energy, anything. It was this one simple word. Yes. I was like, wow, that I could feel it. The word makes sense. He's agreeing, but he was like, it was automatic. Like he was a soldier prepared, and he killed it. Like I felt like I was ringside of like an amazing event.
It was phenomenal. I remember because he came to attend, he came to attend, and he was psyched to be there because he was like super psyched that we were putting this together as we were near Oklahoma, and he knows how much it was important to do this in Colorado, and how important what they do in Oklahoma for Focus was. And he was psyched to be there. When we said, wow, somebody didn't show up, we had an open slot, like, what do we do? I said, hey, do you want to speak? I was like, as soon as you walked in, I was like, and he was like, sure, so it was great. Yeah.
But that was like, absolutely. And that's just the audience, folks. That's just what happens in the audience.
Now, not everybody listening, watching knows this, but the theme for Mile High 2021, you know about it.
I do.
Yes. So for those that don't know, we have decided that Mile High 2021 is going to be all about the art of chiropractic. It's all about the art of chiropractic. So, I mean, same focus, same foundational principles, philosophy, vision, strategy is our taglines, right? So it's helping you deepen your philosophy, help you expand your vision, and increase your strategies. And often, though we're very philosophical, there may be people that are coaches and business recommendations, all that. But we're going to shift all that to be completely different looking lineup of speakers. And it's all going to be people that are, really leaders or people that are clinically excellent in different areas of the art, from maybe about the philosophy of the art, what makes a chiropractic adjustment philosophically, maybe things about the research of the art, like what research there are for different techniques, and then people that are masters in different parts of chiropractic art and different techniques, not from a place of, hey, let's talk about why my technique is best, or from a battle of techniques, but from a place of, hey, you know what, I do upper cervical work, and these are some things about the upper cervical spine that you really need to know, whatever kind of chiropractor you are. Or I'm a Gonstead chiropractor, and for the non-Gonstead chiropractor, this is some stuff that will be really helpful for you. So we can actually help, from a multiple perspectives, expand your vision for technique and analysis and art, right? Help you get more philosophical with spinal analysis, and help you grow your strategies in the art of chiropractic. And all the breakouts are going to be about technique and all of that. I'm super thrilled about it. I know all the MCs are. Simon, why are you excited about this?
Exactly what you're saying. This is the first time, and I think it's so important. I mean, again, we get a bit divisive. I mean, we can see it every area of the world right now. And there's something I think very important about being able to come together, listen, and share. And that's the type of cross-pollination that's okay. Let's be chiropractors, stay in our lane, but let's learn and grow so we can exponentially serve more people more often on more tables. So yeah. I think that art piece is going to be new and really provide a level of excitement and depth that we haven't even had. And that's saying something, because every year Mile High is better than the year before. Even this last one, that was crazy. But the amount of things that we had to jump, you guys have no idea, and I don't want you to know. Like Danny and Michelle they're just off the chart as far as what they'll step up to and deliver. But every year it gets better. This one's going to be no different. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I'm super thrilled. And like in that place of you've been a chiropractor for 24 years or so, something like that, right? Yep. Similar to me. Right. In that place of when you were just thinking about becoming a chiropractor, you hadn't read a green book yet or something, hadn't studied the philosophy or whatever. Isn't there this place of like you were mesmerized that person would do this to a person's body, and like it was so miraculous, and like I want to be able to do that and give that gift? Isn't there a place where that art lives within you?
That's a great question. Hearing you say it makes sense. That's going to be so exciting on this next Mile High. The answer to your question is yes, it does live in me. And that's going to be really fun to be a part of, because the last time we've had that kind of novel excitement is either when we first got to chiropractic school and first saw it, or some people have a little bit more of a drive and they are going out and checking out new things, but 98% are not.
And I got to tell you, there's a place of like, oh, you want to do chiropractor as a business, and you really love the thought process of the philosophy, and it makes sense. It's I want to do healthcare. I don't want to give drugs, like all those things when you think of being a chiropractor. But somewhere there's a place of like someone did something with you with their hands, and you were like, boom, right? And I want to be able to do that. I want to have that skill set, right?
Yeah.
Right. And for most of us, that is in our heart and soul. Like when we take care of you, we want to be able to give that gift, and to like focus the program and how we up level our artistry on that is just, it's super psychic. I'm super psyched about it.
I am too. I think it's going to be great. And there's so much depth even in the word art. I remember back in my art training, we picked apart that word for months, philosophically, scientifically, technique wise. Just that word has so much to offer. So I think Mile High, we don't even know how good it's going to be. As we're planning it now, it's still unfolding.
Right. I mean, we haven't even asked speakers yet. I've just been making lists of like, okay, who's the dream team of chiropractic artists? Like that would be like, that will come from a non-ego place about their technique, but like, who are those people? Like, who are the people that have inspired, like, I want to learn from them,
Yeah, and our list, like if you that are already in our Facebook group have seen some of the posts and questions that Danny and Mile High are putting out, asking that question, and you just look at these threads and you're like, wow, this is going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be a completely different flavor. And here's the thing I really would like to see, and I know with the Mile High crew this will be the case, is that it becomes a collaboration and a community, not a why my technique is better, but how can I give the gift of my technique to other people, or technique or analysis to other people that may not do it, right?
Right. No, that's good. I think we've achieved that for sure.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the past, so.
Which will be awesome. So
Yeah.
that'll be awesome. So with that being said, what else are you excited about Mile High 2021?
What I'm going to get out of it. There's a basic list of things I already know, and I could answer this question before every Mile High. I'm going to get connected again. I'm going to be lifted up again. But I don't know which areas, and I don't know what new connections I'm going to meet with some of these amazing thought leaders within chiropractic. So I'm excited to just find out. You know, and I'm human. There are times when, as we approach to Mile High, I know Danny and Rochelle never feel this, but as we approach to Mile High, it's a little like, wow, I'm getting a little fatigued here. Maybe we can postpone this one. I'm getting a little tired. And you just kind of resist a little bit that human thing. And I tell Josie, that's my wife, every time I come home, I go, oh my gosh, I don't know why I'll resist or feel like I have to go to Mile High, or I have to take time to do this or whatever, because I go and it knocks my socks off.
Yeah. And I've got to say, my favorite thing about it is always the people.
Yeah.
The attendees.
Yeah.
It's always, I mean, we stellar speakers.
It's true.
I love, we have exhibitors are in congruence, you know. Hotel's great, right?
Yes.
The program content's always great. The breakouts are good. The food's great, especially the chocolate covered strawberries. But like, you know, but really the people, the social time, the connection time, the teams, is really awesome. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Those thought leaders that I was mentioning, some are on stage, some are in the audience.
Yeah.
And some are their first year out in practice, some are 25 years. It's a place to be.
Yeah.
And it's going to be earlier this year.
And it's going to be earlier. So we don't have a lot of months. So we're going to do this in 9 months, I think it is.
Let's do it.
Yep.
What the heck? Let's do it.
Yep. So, hey, if you're not already registered for Mile High, dial it in. June 3rd till 6th. Great time to visit Colorado. If you like Colorado in the winter time for skiing, you're going to love it in the summer, especially in June. Beautiful. Make a holiday trip out of it with your family, right? A vacation. And always, you know, never miss any Mile High TIC. Make sure you hit subscribe on the podcast, so you can always get dialed in. And now there's a Mile High app, so you can have all that too.
Yeah, that's awesome. And anybody needs any travel suggestions, Liam Schubel is very good at taking the most out of his trips before and after. Yep. So he's a bit of an expert. He's a bit of a maven about how to really rock Colorado. So I direct all traffic to Liam's Travel Agency.
Yep.
That's
I agree.
But Liam Schubel's not made up, and reach out.
So any final words about Mile High to share with the audience?
Yeah, if you've thought about it before, just do it. If this is your first time hearing about it, take a chance on something. Take a chance on your own development, because that's where, just like Danny says, we constantly hear people say how changing this was in a loving, supportive way. We're really committed to keeping the vibe like that. It's not salesy. It's not schmoozy. It's really quality stuff. So if you're feeling that where you are in your life right now is you could use some of that, this is a no-brainer. This is like a guarantee you are going to get some of that. So that would be my message to you. If you've already been, come again. I've been to every single one, and every single one provides more depth because it's new and growing.
Yeah, and this is going to be a whole new level. So yeah, psyched to see everybody there. Remember, hit subscribe. Make sure you get all Mile High TIC, and we'll see you in June.
See you in June, everybody.